Morning, guys. How's it going? I know that you guys are looking forward to this juicy topic this morning. I know you guys are like, well, what do you mean a good woman can't find a man? And we hear that a lot. It's a topic that comes up a lot. Like, why can't good women find a man? It's all the men's fault. And again, this is not a blame channel. It's more of helping people understand that there's issues on both sides. And then once we can resolve those issues, then we can really meet in the middle. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So, we want to try to figure out the best way to do that. And that's why, as I said, there's some things that we need to address when it comes to this. Now, before we start the topic, you guys need to like, share, and subscribe. Look, we are trying to get to at least 1,000 subscribers. We're finalizing the system. We're smoothing everything out. Next Friday, we actually have an announcement regarding the channel going forward to make it better. So literally what we're literally trying to do is perfect the system for you guys to have topics, content, all of that stuff available for you. But what you also need to understand is you guys can also vote in your questions. When our YouTube video goes live and we're done and it gets edited, which usually only takes a couple hours, there's an email in there where you guys can post your questions. You can become a guest. Like we give it to you guys for that very reason. So again, the best way you can help us get to 1,000 subscribers is like, share, and subscribe to the content.
Oh, thank you. And I was going to just obviously add to that to say, if you do feel like you could bring some value to this channel in something you feel that you have a lot of knowledge and wisdom about, please do contact us. We'd love to have you on the show. We always welcome guests. I think it's a brilliant thing to have a third person in so we can have that really deep and meaningful conversation. And we're not always going to agree on things. However, it's always a good thing to be able to bring today. Somebody in. Yeah, like today. So today, me and Michael already had a discussion, and it seems like we don't agree on this one. So we're quite excited about it because we don't agree on certain aspects of what we're about to speak about. So I'm just excited to move forward with this, Michael.
Yeah. So why can't a good woman find a man? Before we share the video, guys, let's talk about it quickly. We hear a lot of women say, it's not an attack on you women. I'm just putting it out there. I'm a good woman. Right? And this is just my perspective. A good woman does not have to announce that she's a good woman. She doesn't have to list. Yeah, she doesn't have to list off her accolades, because a lot of times you'll ask her, like, what makes you a good woman? I'm independent. I have my own place. I got my own money. But when it comes to dating, those are the things that guys don't care about. You see, like, we both have different values and principles. Those are things that us as men, we don't really care about those things.
And even if you don't care about them, or whether we care about them or don't care about them, I don't think that makes a good woman, just because somebody could be independent, have their own place, have their own money, but you go and speak to them and they are arrogant, they're rude, how does that make you a good person because of what you've built up on the outside, right? What a good person is what's made up on the inside, and what you can bring to the table, what you can bring to not just your romantic relationships, your friendships, the relationships within family, all different types of relationships. The outside does not make you a good woman. It doesn't make you a good man. It just makes it that and you've got something about you that you know how to create this stuff in your life, and it's stuff. It's never going anywhere with you. I mean, it's going to walk with you for a certain time, but that doesn't make you a good person just because you have.
I'm going to say there's certain characteristics that make you a catch. That's what I'm going to say. And
I agree with that.
Those external things that women say, how does that benefit the relationship? Ask yourself. When you say I'm independent, that means I'm not agreeable. That means I'm going to give you a lot of pushback. Guys like, don't really want to deal with that. When you say I'm a boss babe, Don't really want to deal with that either. She's leading with masculine energy. No thanks.
Yeah, and I think if you're independent, I mean, I think those the only thing that just came to my mind when you said that is like if a woman's when a woman's independent and she has her own place, let's just put her own place in place here. Then the nice thing that could bring to the relationship is that you're not going to be needing the man to be in his space constantly. So I can say that's a positive thing. So
That
you're going to
is
have
a positive thing.
yeah,
Yes.
you can go back to your own home and you're not
But
going to be like, oh, I need to be with you. I need to stay with you. I need you. I need you. You just go and do you.
But put it this way, once you get into a relationship, you need to switch to interdependence. That's where the switch off comes.
Yeah, I suppose interdependence, but at the same time, I think I'm really much to say, you know, it is nice to have your own place and for the man to have his own place as you get to know each other, because
100%. You guys should have your own spaces. But I'm saying, even when it comes to the relationship, that interdependence is, can you work together, is going to be the key factor. And somebody that has that independent mindset has a hard time working with someone. And that's what's going to make the relationship very difficult.
And they will go against. Yeah, you're right. It's like if they could go against a lot of it because they're so used to doing things their own way themselves. Yeah, when someone else comes along, they find it difficult to be able to interlink that. And I think that's been a problem, though, hasn't it, with women being like this independent thing, because they are so like, well, you can't tell me what to do, and nobody wants to tell anybody what to do. I think it's literally, if somebody said, if you're in a relationship and somebody asks for something, it's not that they're making you do something or telling you what to do. It's more the fact that you're coming along saying, well, actually, I respect what you're saying, and I'm willing to work alongside that, and I'm willing to work forward with that. So yeah,
I'm gonna give the women some knowledge right here, and let me know if you agree with me before we share the video, guys. Life is about trade-offs. So what I mean by that is, when you date somebody, right, you don't get to have it all. I heard a girl say when I spoke to her, well, I feel like when I date somebody, I lose my independence. Well, sweetie, that's part of the deal. Because you can't ask this man for a commitment, a ring, security, and all these things. You're asking him to provide something, but you want to hang on to your independence.
And I think there's a certain amount of independence that you do have still. Like I said, you have your own place. Yeah, you have your own life, because I think if there's when you become dependent, solely dependent on someone, there's going to be a problem. So you need to keep that independence of some sort. But I think what you're trying to refer to, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like if you're someone who goes out clubbing all the time, well, that's not going to be happening anymore. If you're going out looking for men, then you're not going to be doing that anymore. If you're someone who puts on like photos all over the internet of you
or hangs around with guy friends,
or hangs around with lots of male friends. I think those are the things that and I don't think, I would never see that as losing my independence. I see that as a choice to be with somebody else. So if I want to be single, I can do all those other things, but once I've chosen to be with somebody, those things are out the window, and I will not look that way, because to me that's a disrespect, and that's like, I've got a choice at the end of the day. I choose to be single or I choose to be in a relationship.
That's it. You can't have it both.
You can't have it both ways. And if you want it both ways, then you've just got you're going to be a singleton. It doesn't work, because that then you have to find somebody who's willing to be the same and wants to be able to have multiple partners.
Who's going to let you do that behavior?
Yeah, and then where are you going with that? Really?
But see, I'm going to be honest with you, ladies. Think about it this way. I really want you guys to think about it this way. Now that we're older, well, some of us that do listen to the podcast, you could be young. The whole boyfriend and girlfriend thing is childish. And I'm not saying you're a child. I'm saying the concept of it's child. When we date somebody, the goal is to look for somebody with husband or wife qualities. Because at the end of the day, you want the relationship to go to marriage. That's what you want. So there needs to be certain habits and qualities that person on both parties needs to have for you to go there. So that's what I'm saying. Once it even goes to marriage, and Anthea, you can chime in after this part. Once you have kids, your independence goes out the window. It's not about you anymore. It's about providing for the kids at that point, you and this man.
Absolutely.
So that's why I said the thing about independence, because when you're like, well, I have to hold on to, not you, but I'm saying when women say, I have to hold on to my independence. Okay, but you want to have kids, you want to have all these things and still be independent. It's not about you anymore. Now it's about the kids.
Again, it's a choice, isn't it? You're choosing to be in that side of things. And then people, I mean, what I've seen, you know, especially in this day and age, is people don't actually work towards that relationship. Something comes up. And I think this happens with this has been happening probably for a long time now, where someone will get into a relationship, they like each other, they get to know each other, and then they start walking forward together. And they don't, you know, whether you label it, you don't label it, whatever it is, you're with one another.
Yeah, you're investing.
You're investing your time in this person. And then they do something that you don't like. And then you go and talk about it. And then you start focusing on all the things you don't like about this person. And you forget about the things you do like. And then you go, oh, he's not for me. And you walk away. Well, there's always going to be things you don't like about someone. And I really, truly believe where your focus goes, attention flows and grows. So if you're going to focus on the things you don't like, then you're going to get more of the things you don't like. If you focus on the things you do like, then you're going to get more of the things you do like. And I think this is where communication comes in, because if you voice what you didn't like and you squash it with with your partner, then you can move forward. But if you're keeping it and you're going out and you're speaking about it outside of that, and you're continuously speaking about outside of that, and you're not bringing it to the table to your partner, then there's going to be a problem, because you're just going to focus on all the wrong things. And then people go, this isn't working, don't like him, don't like this, don't like that. And then they walk away.
Yeah. Well, you know what, guys? We're actually going to get into today's videos, because I'm sure that you guys want to hear what me and Anthea agree on and what we what we agree on and what we disagree on. So I know that you guys are really looking forward to hearing this. So we're going to jump into it. Again, we really appreciate this content creator doing this, Chanel Simone. We really appreciate it for doing this. So we have to give her flowers for allowing us to be able to review a video like this with these kind of topics. A man may look at you and not feel. So we really have to appreciate her for doing that. But anyways, we're going to get into the video today. And yeah, we're going to chime in. I'm going to play the video, and then we are going to talk about it. Is the video good? Because it looks like it's frozen.
It is. I think it is frozen. Maybe
okay,
just
give me a second. Yeah, give me a second here, guys.
I didn't know if it was you that was frozen.
No, I think it was the video itself, because I noticed that it was freezing. But anyways, guys,
hand movements.
Yeah, anyways, guys, we're going to try to play the video again, or hang on, I'm going to try to find it for you guys again. And because we really want to discuss this, because a lot of people, usually me and Anthea agree on a lot of things, but for some reason with this video, we just don't. So we're going to get into it. We're really looking forward to talking about it. So what happens is we're going to stop the screen share. We're going to start it again. And you guys are going to get to hear some of our magic. Okay, guys, there we go. Video's prepped and ready to go, and you guys are going to hear it. So enjoy, and we're going to break it down real soon.
And hopefully start seeing more two-parent households in the Black community. Now, a topic I want to touch on is how every woman think they're a good woman. We'll hear this time and time again, where women will complain that there is a lack of men. Men aren't stepping up to the plate. Men aren't marriage-minded, and that they and their friends are good women. but these men aren't wanting to wife them up. And that just shows the lack of self-awareness that we have in our community. A woman can't tell another woman that she's a good woman, because what women tend to look for in a relationship is not what men look for in a relationship. So we are over here thinking that, I have my own place, I'm independent, I'm strong, I'm successful, I'm educated, and thinking that those qualities make you a good woman. So these men are supposed to want you, but not necessarily, because those aren't the qualities that men look for in a relationship. Those aren't the qualities that men would consider a good woman. And we see this disconnect, we see this frustration, which is understandable, because we were raised to be completely the opposite of what men want. We were raised to be the strong, independent, don't need a man, be aggressive, be combative, challenge the man. And as we're learning, and as contents and platforms are allowing men to say what they're saying inside the barbershop, but these platforms are allowing women to be in these men's conversation, then we're learning, wait, we were lied to. And unfortunately, instead of trying to get an understanding of what the men are talking about, instead of trying to change ourselves to be better qualified for the men, we tend to just brush it off and say, oh, it's because they're weak, it's because they're intimidated by us. And we'll never get our desired results if we cannot come to the point of acknowledging a man's perspective, of acknowledging what a man considers a good woman.
So let's talk about it. Is there anything at that point, Anthea, that you disagreed with?
No, not at this point. At this point, I agree with what she's saying. The bit that I want to add to it is that for women in particular here again, when you're, it all comes back down to self and self-awareness. And if you're attracting guys who don't want that, who don't want marriage and who don't want certain things, it's not because of the man, it's because of you. It's because you're looking, you're how can I say, you're focusing on the wrong things, or you're attracting a person, and it's all from deep within you that you're attracting it. So you need to look at yourself and understand, why am I attracting this into my life, and do cleansing and clearing on yourself, and be able to understand there's a belief system going on that's all that you deserve, a man who won't treat you right or is not prepared for marriage. And if you keep walking around saying that all the good men are gone or men don't want marriage, then I believe our words create our reality. So if you're chanting that, then that's what you're going to be getting. So you need to change your story. You need to change what you think about men. You need to change how you see men, and you need to change what's inside you to bring the best for you, is what I just wanted to add to that.
I'm going to add a caveat to this, to what you said. Number one, you also have to understand things from the man's perspective. It can't always be about the woman's perspective. Yeah. If you are looking to attract a man, you need to understand what it is men want. You can't say, oh, well, this is what I think men want. You need to understand what men actually want, first of all. Second of all, to touch on Anthea's amazing point, it's not that I don't disagree with Anthea, but I'm going to add this. You cannot control who you attract, but you can control who you entertain. That's the difference. I'm attracting all these bad men. No, you're entertaining these bad men because you have a choice to not do so.
Yeah, and you can attract them. I don't know. I agree. I think that we attract them personally. That's my personal opinion there, that we actually attract them. But I am so with you in what you're saying, that it's up to you if you entertain them. It's completely your choice. And
100%. And but so the reason why I said it with the attraction is because think about it like this: you can't control who's attracted to you, can you?
No, but if you've got, like I think we've spoken about before, like my
Yeah.
thing is, if you're very clear about what you want, and you will attract that type of person. But if you are not clear about what you want and you're just walking around and you're saying that all the good ones are gone, or none of these men want marriage anymore, or they're all this, or you're giving that negative talk about
Oh yeah,
guys.
you're putting. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So how can you attract someone good? You're not. You're going to attract the opposite all the time, and then you're going to blame the guys. It's not the guy's fault. Take responsibility for yourself.
I agree with that. And that's the thing. Like, yes, like our words are very important. I'm not discerning that we're not, but that's the thing. A lot of the times you cannot help who's attracted to you. If you're out in public, guys are checking you out, and and let's say you have a history of entertaining Chads and Tyrones, you can't help who's attracted to you, but you always have the choice to decide if you decide to entertain that behavior or not. You have the choice. Nobody's forcing you to do it. So yeah, we'll continue in the video, and then things will get real juicy.
By continuing to convince yourself that you're a good woman, even though you're not getting your desired results, may require you to take a step back, do some self-reflection, do some inner work, take accountability, and become more aware of how the energy you're putting off. Because a lot of times what we think men want from a relationship may not be what they want. And what influenced this video is this post that I saw, and I'll post it right here. She said, if you don't feel blessed when you look at her, let her go, because she's another man's blessing. She's another man's everything. And it shows just how arrogant women can be at times, because a man may look at you and not feel blessed, not because there's something wrong with him, but because you're not a blessing. And instead of encouraging our young girls or encouraging women to look in the mirror at the end of a relationship, to look in the mirror and reflect and say, okay, what did I do wrong to end this relationship? We tend to just tell these women, oh, well, he wasn't the right guy. It was something wrong with him. He didn't see your value. He didn't see how great you were. Well, really and truly, maybe you weren't that great. Maybe you're not a good woman, and maybe you need to go back to the drawing board.
Okay, Anthea, is that the part you disagree with?
She says a little bit more. She says
okay,
just a
okay,
little
we'll
bit
keep
more.
going. Okay,
yeah,
we'll
just a little bit more.
And reprogram your mind, relearn some things, and just learn what men want from a relationship. It's no shade, but sitting there and thinking that, oh, how I am is how I should be, and I'm not going to change. And if a relationship doesn't work out, then it's 100% the man's fault, and he's the one who missed out on a good thing. That's detrimental, and that's childish, that's juvenile, and that's narcissistic. We're all humans. We all have flaws. No one is perfect. And to enter relationships thinking that if it doesn't work out, then it must be him, that's a clear-cut sign that you are not a good woman. So this video is just to encourage you to look in the mirror more. Stop pointing the blame on your exes. Stop saying that it's them and it's their loss. It might require you to look in the mirror. It might require you to do some work, do some inner work, and become the best version of your.
Right. So look, I agree with what she's saying to a certain degree, but at the same time, right. So my thing is, every relationship or every person you come across is an experience. So yes, you're going to have to look at yourself, but I truly believe that everyone that's been in your life in the romantic way is there to teach you. And it's to teach you about not just about yourself, about more than that, like learning more about men, learning more about yourself. But I never believe in the blame game. Like, I just don't believe in blaming somebody else. And I've heard so many women say, they've said it to me, oh, he just didn't deserve you. Oh, you're just too good for him. And I don't agree with that either, because at the end of the day, if something doesn't work out, there's no blame. It's just to take yourself to say, well, what can I do better? How can I improve on myself? But I don't think it's to say you're not a good woman. to me, that's like, how can you tell a woman that she's not a good woman? Or how can you tell anybody, like, who are you to tell anybody they're not good? Just being good is just being kind-hearted. It doesn't mean you know how to be in a relationship just because you're a good person, a good woman, good man. I'm just going to say a good person, Michael, because look, I don't think I could never go to a younger person and say, well, you're not in that relationship because you're not a good woman. Like, whoa, hang on a sec. How dare you say I think that's really rude. I think it's really rude.
I don't think there's anything wrong with what she said for this very reason. A lot of times bad behavior is justified. And it's not all women. It's not all women when I say this, right? But what she's saying in her point is that you can't just go around saying it's all their fault.
Right, I agree with that.
But that's what I mean. Sometimes you do have to look, and it's a tough pill to swallow, to say maybe there's certain qualities that I have that are not good, that have hindered my relationships.
Yes,
and that's the thing. That could be true, and it could be a hard pill to swallow, because if you're in relationships where the guys are physically abusive or mentally abusive, I'm not saying it's all your fault. What I'm saying is just leave whatever. But what I'm saying is let's exclude that and let's talk about like just dating bad dudes in general, right? If you're dating bad men, there could be certain qualities that you have, and see, we live in such a sensitive, you can't say something's not good without being shamed for it, when it's like, yo, like, flat out you tell that girl, like, yo, you have some characteristics that are not good for a relationship. As a solo individual, you're a good person, but in a relationship, you have some detrimental habits.
Well, I hear that, but I think that goes for anything and everything. It's very much like it all comes back down to ourselves, and it all comes back down to how we see ourselves within a relationship. And if we're looking, if the bit that I just really don't agree with is someone turning around and saying to somebody else, you're not a good person because that relationship didn't work. No, no. Sorry, but no.
What she's really trying to do is get them to take accountability, because
yes, but you don't have to say it like that. You don't have to say someone's not a good person to take accountability. Good person and taking accountability is different. I can take accountability for my actions. It doesn't mean if I didn't take accountability, I then become a non-good woman. Like, what does that, what's a non-good woman? What, because that person and I didn't see eye to eye, and we didn't find our ways to be able to make the relationship work. It makes me a bad woman, and it makes me that, no, I don't agree with that.
I will add a caveat why I agree with this. Because it makes it interesting, right? I will say a woman is a bad, and I'm not saying bad, and that's the thing. When we mean bad and when we mean good, we're talking about characteristics here. We're not talking about them as an individual. Because the thing is, nobody's good or bad. They just have bad habits and characteristics, first of all. When she's saying to me, when she says, oh, this person's a bad person, you have to understand if they have a history, because that's what it's coming down to. And I'm going to use your words, not against you, but to open the conversation, to say, if you know who you are and know what you want, why are you dating men that don't fulfill any of those roles? So then at the end of the day, you end up making bad choices. That's what it ends up coming down to. And if you continuously keep making these bad choices, and that's what I hear her saying is, if you have a string of, like, let's say 5 guys you've dated, and it was all like end, and you're just saying it's all them, you have to look at yourself and say, yo, I contributed to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I contributed to this 100%, because maybe, let's say the guy tells you, I don't really want to have kids, or I don't move this way, but then you still decide to say, hey, let's just be together anyways, and ignore a lot of your standards or a lot of your qualifications to still go be with this guy, and you're doing it with all the guys you date.
And then you're blaming the other man. They're blaming the man. And I don't agree with that. And I don't agree with anyone. Yeah.
That's the point she's really trying to make, is if you have a backlog. Now, if you date like one person and it didn't work out, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. But if there's a continuous pattern,
But I still don't agree with that either, because there could be a continuous pattern. But I'm gonna listen. I'm only saying this because of my own experiences and other people that I know, right? So I've had relationships. Now, all the relationships I've had have taught me different things in those relationships. Now, it doesn't mean the guy was bad. It doesn't mean I was bad. It doesn't mean that it just means that we were in a relationship to learn and grow and actually have wisdom out the other end of it. Now, if I were to ignore everything of those relationships and never look at what went right, what went wrong, then that will be that I will continue to date the wrong people. But because I'm somebody who looks at what was within those relationships, what did I play, what role did I play, and what role did they play? But I take it all as a good experience, because when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and you become very clear about what you want. But how can you decide what you do want and what you're clear about what you want if you don't experience what you don't want? It's like going to a buffet, having all this buffet of food, and you decide not to touch any of it. How will you know what tastes good and what doesn't, unless you pick it up and try it? And then you decide from there, okay, well, I like that one, I like that one. And the ones that you don't like, you know, you're not going to go back to that buffet and go, that's not going to be your first choice. You're not going to go back and find that one thing that you did not like and try and eat it, because you're going to spit it out. You'll be like, I don't want that. But it makes you very clear about the food you like and the food you don't like. And I think that the same applies with a relationship. Like, you're going to go into relationships and you're going to find the things that you do like and the things that you don't like. And if you focus on the things that you don't like, you're just going to get more and more and more of it. But if you focus on the things that you do like, you're going to get more and more of that. But you must take accountability for what you're doing. And you must look within the relationship to understand your role, understand their role, understand what you didn't like, and understand what you do like, and then you can go to the next relationship. Now, if you're still 60 years old and you're still trying to figure it out, I don't think that's a problem, Michael. At the end of the day, not everybody is going to find a relationship that works from them from the age of 25, 26, 27 or 30. Some of us have, there's some people have just know what they want and attract that, get that, and just know how to be because of the way they've been brought up in life. And if you've been brought up in a certain way and you've watched your parents be a certain way, you've had brilliant role models to be able to understand. But if you haven't had that, you're going to go through it the hard way. And I don't necessarily think the hard way is a bad way. I think it's a really good way, because when you do find the relationship that agrees with you and you agree with them, oh my goodness, it's easy. It's so easy. You don't have to question it. You don't have to walk around asking people's opinions. You just know what's there and you're accepting of that person. And even if they do things that you don't like, you know to walk past it, because you can see bigger for you and him, or him and her.
I will add, that's some good stuff. See, I will add some good talking points. And I'm glad that you said those things you said about trying the different foods. I disagree with that, because it ties back to what we said in the last podcast. You shouldn't have to test drive people's hearts to figure out what the hell it is you want. That's how you hurt people doing that. That's how you hurt people doing that. If you have no idea what you want, don't date. Don't date. If you have no idea what you want, don't date, because all you're going to do is create pain in other people's lives because you didn't know what the hell you wanted.
But you're most likely to grab someone that doesn't know what they want either. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's two people, but it's better for you to stay single and figure out, and it's going to tie back to what you said, figure out who you are first and what it is you stand for. What is acceptable for you, what it is you're looking for. Be more clear on what it is you want. Because a lot of people enter into these covenants not clear with what they want, and that becomes disastrous. And to touch on a point where you said about the hard way, yes, you should, yes, there's all lessons in life and you should always want to learn things. But if the hard way can be avoided, avoid it. Don't be like, I want something hard. No, if you have the opportunity to learn from other people's mistakes, don't make the same pitfalls.
But then I thought I knew what I thought when I was let's say 25, I thought I knew. I thought I knew everything, Michael. I was 25. I thought, and we all kind of think we know. And then you get into the relationship and you realize that actually what I thought it was, it's not. Now, yes, it's really funny, isn't it? Because you're so on point what you're saying. You can't test drive people's hearts. And I agree. However, how are you going to ever know if you don't experience it?
It's how you're going to know is by experiencing it, is by taking yourself out of it and not dating and spending more time with yourself.
Yes. Okay. You're going to spend more time with yourself.
That's how I look at it, because you can't take the risk of saying, well, I don't know what I want, but let me still date this person anyways for the experience. See how it goes. If it doesn't work out, that's cool. On to the next person, because now you might have just damaged this person's heart, because for the next person that they deal with, they might be cold. Their heart might be closed off because of choices that you made to enter in a relationship with them, not fully understanding what it is you want. And now you've broken this other person's heart and created work for someone else to do for them to fix that person's heart.
Yeah, but then that's life, isn't it, Michael? You have to then take that responsibility again for yourself to say, okay, my heart was broken, but that's when you need to take that time out and start to get to know you and spend that time with yourself. And until you heal from that, and you will learn, and you will then know exactly what you want. So you might have thought you knew what you want, but from having your heart broken, you can actually turn back and say to that person, thank you for that experience, because now I'm very clear about what I want. So
I'm not against heartbreak. I am not against heartbreak, but I'm like, if it can be avoided and you can be more clear and understanding of what it is you want first to avoid breaking people's hearts.
Yeah.
I think it should totally be looked at.
Absolutely.
Because, yes, you might not work out, but you want the person to continue on to take lessons from you guys and bring it into their other relationships. But we also have to understand that relationships end sometimes, and then people's hearts are not the same. Some people's hearts become very hardened after those experiences. So then,
but that's up to them to fix that, Michael. That's up to them to heal that for themselves.
Up to them to fix it, but it could have been avoided if you would have avoided dating that person. And I think it comes down to a level of certainty of knowing who you are yourself. Like, I think when you fully know yourself, and I've made this mistake, guys. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't. I've made mistakes, man. I've dated women that I should have never dated, but that stemmed from me not knowing who I was and what I wanted. But see, if I would have taken the time to say, you know what, I need to actually sit down, pen, paper, what it is I want, what it is I don't want, those women, I would have never entertained them at all. The answer would have been no. But then you see, if I would have told them no, because I took the time to actually figure out who I am, their hearts would have been saved for someone else to go be with that complemented their life. Because I knew, and this is where it turns into feeling, I knew in my heart of hearts that they weren't for me. I knew it. Because as you said, it's an intuition thing. But I still did it anyways, because I'm well, they're available. I'm available. Why the hell not?
Yeah. You see yourself with two single people and coming together. And I done it. And I done it. It wasn't even that long ago that I done that. We're only talking like three years ago. And I knew in my heart of heart it wasn't for me. But I continued.
Exactly. It's that continuing. And then when you continue to do that, you end up breaking someone's heart because you made a poor decision. You know you shouldn't have been there, but you still did it anyways. And then trying to absolve yourself of the accountability and say, well, it just didn't work out. You knew it from the beginning that it wasn't going to work.
I knew it wasn't going to work. And I think that's why I was making the points of having those experiences, because that's what gave me from there, I've had 2 years, 2.5, maybe I think about 2.5 years now. Maybe, I think it's been, I don't know, whatever it's been. But that's where I went into serious self-reflection for 2 years solid. And I think I might even be speaking to you during these times. I think we were.
You were,
really,
yeah.
we were speaking about it and really understanding myself and what role I play in a relationship. But had I said to myself, oh, you know what, I know it's not for me, and walked off, then I would never have been so determined to actually really understand what I want. So that's what I was saying.
I'm very curious. Imagine if you would have walked away. Imagine for a second, let's go into a little dreamland. Imagine if you actually would have just walked away and never dated them, knowing that you should have dated them. Imagine a person's heart you could have saved. Because in your heart, you already knew that they weren't for you. So imagine if you would have said, you know what, look, you're not for me. I'm going to go off and do my own thing. And they said, cool, it hurts. I'm okay with it. But you would have moved on.
But he knew he wasn't for me either, but he still stuck around.
So you both knew. What I'm saying,
both knew.
Look at
what is that?
Look at the other side of it and think, if I would have acted on my intuition and not dated this individual, I could have saved their heart for the next woman to take care of it easier. That's what I always try to look at now is whoever I deal with, and let's say we don't work out, I want to make sure that the next person they deal with, that they don't have a tough job dealing with them because of mistakes that I did to them in that relationship.
No, and I totally hear that. So I'm really thinking about if I walked away. So if I walked away when I knew he wasn't for me. So, and I thought to myself, you know what, I'm not even going to try this. And actually, I debated it and debated it and debated it and debated it. And actually I took other people's, the influence around me. So they say, just try at the end of the day, like, just, what's going to happen at the end of the day? It's either going to work or it's not going to work. Just give it a go. So let's say I walked away. Now I'm trying to think, would I have gone into that deep self-reflection and self-development? Would I push myself to do that? Probably not. So the person I've met now could have got the worst version of me because I didn't do that. So actually, he might have had to go through something. God bless him. And I hope he didn't. And I really pray that he was able to walk away and have whatever great relationships. I wish the best for him. But the person that I'm around now probably wouldn't be getting who he's getting today because I wouldn't have taken that time out for me. So he gets to benefit from my mistake there. So
but see, I really think you would have grown either way if you would have walked away because you knew he wasn't for you. You had that awareness that this man was not for you. So then it's like, why are we dating people that we know are not for us? You see what I'm saying? Like, it avoids a bunch of heartbreak because let's be honest. Think about it. We know they're not for us, yet we get into a relationship. We share feelings with them. We have bedroom fun with them. So it draws the attachment deeper. So then doesn't it make it more difficult to walk away? In the back of your mind, knowing that you should have never been with them anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good feeling throughout the time. It wasn't a good feeling.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Imagine having bedroom fun with someone that you know you're not supposed to be with.
Yeah. I say imagine I've done it.
It's not genuine. Same thing when he's like, hey, let's go out for dinner. You're like, oh, I don't even want to go with you. That's what I'm saying, because you know in the back of your mind,
I'm so guilty.
Be with this individual. So that's why I'm saying that self-awareness of knowing who complements your life and who doesn't is very, very helpful, because then it's going to allow you to make the decision. Because I love it what you said, try different things. I can go around and try different things, but look at the pain I leave behind of dating different women, trying different things, playing around with their heart. Hey, I need to date you to see what I want. I need to date you to figure it out. So I'm going to play with your heart a little bit. Not a player.
But you don't go in with that mentality. You don't go in with that mentality, Michael. You go into it. Yeah, okay. I don't know about other people, but for me, I've never gone into a relationship thinking that in particular. I thought I've known what I wanted. I thought when I've met the person, other than the one we were speaking about, all my relationships has been because I have had a natural first of all, I'm going to say an attraction, and that's why I don't really go by attraction. I just don't go by the attraction anymore. Yes, an attraction is important, but it's not my feeling then. Yes, but I've just lost my train of thought there. So I've been in these relationships, but I've never gone in thinking, oh, I'm going to try this and I'm going to see, and I'm just going to play with a relationship. No, I'm a loyal, standard person that when I meet somebody, I'm all in. I will give you me, and I just hope that I draw from you what it is that is right for me and what's right for you. Now, if it doesn't work out that way, and the reason, like I've always said, and sorry, not that I've always said, I've got to understand and learn that the reason it doesn't work out is because you end up focusing on the things you don't like. And I think that's just what breaks down every relationship, and they don't know how to flip that over. Now, through personal development, self-development, everything, I've learned that. So now when I see something, like I've had the person that I'm around at the moment, and I tell him straight, there's something comes up. I've said to him, I've had those thoughts. I've had those negative thoughts and that insecurity and that fear, but I'm able to now voice it. And another thing is, had I not been in those relationships, would I have been able to voice what I need to voice? And even today, I still have, I'm going to use the word struggle to actually be really like, I'm scared to say what I want to say. However, I'm finding the courage to find my voice and say what I need to say. But I'm expressing that, and I'm being very upfront about it to say, look, it might take me time, but I will say it, and maybe I'll write it to you, or maybe, I'll find a way to do it. But I think these things, if we go back to the good woman, do these things make you a good woman? Like, what is a good woman? A good woman is showing up as your best version of you. And now the best version of you, it might not ultimately be the best version of what you could be in 5 years' time. It's just the best version of you today. And if you're clear about what you want, then you can know, like Michael said from the beginning, you can vet them and and then you don't go in and you don't play with that person's heart. I completely agree with that. And I agree with it in the same breath. I can say, I want to say also that you need to experience things in order to be super, super clear, because how do we really know? Like, I don't know what car I want to drive.
I'm going to say something here. I'm going to say something here that's going to be really funny and be like, okay, what the hell? Okay. So your point is saying we have to experience things to know that they're not for us, correct?
Right.
That's like, and again, I'm not trying to debunk what you're saying, but that's like me saying, you know what? I need to go try like meth to know that meth is not for me. And then based off of that experience, I'll be like, I tried meth. I know meth is not for me. Like right off the rip, I know.
Yeah, why are you saying it like that? Because that just makes
what I'm saying. Like, think about it. Like, really think about it. That's like me saying any type of drug. I'm like, you know what? I need to experience to know that the drug is not for me. I try it. I'm like, it's not for me. Like, no, like I just won't do it. Like I just.
But I don't. Okay, I completely agree with that. I agree with that. But I want to go back to the point of saying that you're not a good woman if the relationship didn't work. It's like.
But she's looking at like a string of like bad ones, like not just one specifically, but like multiple relationships. If you've had a string of constantly break, and you can't retain one, that's what she's saying. That's a problem. If you cannot retain men, something is going wrong.
I just don't agree with it.
No, and it's fine. And I like that we have this, because you see what she's saying at the end of the day, your value is by the man that you can retain and get a ring from. That's what she's saying, is can you retain men? Because
you're going to put your value on how somebody else sees you. No, you put your value on you.
No, 100%. But she's saying for the co-unit of building a family, what man can you retain and keep?
Yeah, I think so much. This goes so much that goes behind it. Look, if you're somebody,
think about it. think about it. Your goal as a woman is to feel security, right? That's what you want at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So you need who to do that?
Well, you need yourself to do that, and then the man to come
like,
along and actually, outside of me, my man will make, right? If he doesn't make me, if I don't feel any security with him, then I'm not going to be with him.
Exactly. But that security that you needs to lead to what? You retaining him, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So then wouldn't the value of the relationship be based off of the man that you've retained, kept, and eventually where he said, hey, I want to give you a ring? It's not valuing you as a person, but it's saying your level of man that you can keep and retain to say, you know what? I know what to do to retain him, to keep him here.
Okay, so what about this one then? I'm going to give you my experiences again. So other than one person, I've always broken the relationships off.
It's normal. Women always end the relationships. But
right. Yeah. Even though they've said, I want to marry you and I want to be with you, there's something in me that I've had to learn and understand in me that was like, no, I don't. And that's because I didn't see them in time. They would maybe portray themselves as the person that I wanted. And then over time, that becomes lazy. They become like, they can't be bothered anymore.
They lost frame.
Yeah, they lost frame. And I'm not, to me, it's like, well, we're either going to get up and we're going to experience life together, or if you're just going to choose to lie on the sofa every weekend because you worked during the week, then I'm not down for that. But if you're not willing to change that about you, and you're not willing to give me what you portrayed to me in the beginning, and the blindsidedness of what I thought that you're giving me what I want. And now I'm realizing a year down the line, you're starting to show something different. And I'm asking you, I'm saying to you, listen, come on, like, this isn't what we're about. We're about going out. We're about doing this. We're about doing that. But you choosing to just lie there, then I'm not keeping you in my life. I don't care if it breaks your heart. I don't care.
No, that's totally fine, because he lost frame. And when you lose frame, you lose attraction. Once you lose attraction, it's a lot easier for the woman to just dip.
Yeah,
because she's lost attraction for you.
But he wanted to marry me. Like, I'm not saying there's been 3 of them who said, I want to marry you. But then because they're showing me something completely different to what I want.
Those guys completely. But I'm saying, let's say hypothetically, the guy you're with now, the guy that we don't use names here, but the guy you're with now, you want to retain him. You see, that's the difference, right? You want to retain him, so that you have to figure out, my value is not based off of that, but for you to get the security, the provision, the emotional support, you have to figure out emotionally and like just within yourself, what do I need to do to retain this man? Yeah. Because you see, it's different compared to the other men that you've dated. You didn't respect those men compared to the man that you're with now. So there's a switch in your mind. Yeah. So there's a switch in your mind where you're saying, I need to retain him.
For sure.
That's what I'm saying. And it's going to be based off of, especially as it progresses, of you're going to want a ring out of a man that you respect, love, and adore.
Right.
But there's certain qualities that have to happen for you to retain that man. And a lot of women don't understand that. Just having some we'll just call it that, down there, does not retain a man. There's other qualities that he's going to look for outside of the bedroom fun to say, like, where a girl can say, I can retain men, because you can't just keep chewing them and spitting them out.
No,
that
you can't.
Doesn't work either. You can't keep chewing them and spitting them out.
And I don't agree with it either. Like, it's not like just because I've done it.
Yeah, you have to be able to retain someone, keep somebody. And even me, I had to look at myself as a man and saying, yo, why am I not keeping these chicks? And yes, part of me was like, I should have never been dating them. But then there's also that accountability on my part to say, there were some things I did, especially falling out of frame, where the attraction died down and then they left. So now it's understanding it on the highest level of, number one, of staying in frame. And like what she wants in the beginning is what she's going to want in the relationship. So how you got her is how she wants you to continuously be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what comes. Yeah,
right?
yes.
And then she once she values you enough, or she should value you enough, she wants to retain you. She's like, I have to, be reciprocative. I have to bring him peace. I have to compliment his life. I have to add massive amounts of value to him to retain him. Because if I don't, this man that I respect and love is going to leave.
Yeah, if I'm just turning up and all I'm doing is causing complete arguments and everything he says, I'm just like, just being rude or being just not doing anything that he speaks of, then I wouldn't expect him to want to be around me, because I wouldn't want to be around that.
I will give you something interesting for you to think about. The difference is with the other men that you've dated in the past, you weren't afraid if they left.
Yeah,
this guy that you're with now, you're afraid if he leaves. So there's a level of you having to retain him, because the other guys, you didn't care if they left. You're like, hey, if you break up with me tomorrow, I'm doing cartwheels in my backyard.
Yeah, I don't care.
Like, I don't really give a shit. Like, I'm doing cartwheels in the backyard. Yeah, but you understand, because from a place of fear, because you respect him so much, you're like, I have to retain this guy. And not that you're people pleasing or anything, but you understand that it's hard to find good men that you love, respect, adore, and all those things. So then you have to help yourself stand out from all the other women and say, I need to retain this guy.
And bring value to the relationship and what I can.
Massive amounts of value to the relationship itself. So, you know what I mean? I think that's the point that we're morally trying to drive home here. And again, it was a great conversation that we disagreed.
It really was.
It was good.
It was good. Really good.
But guys, before we go, we actually have a special guest coming on. It's Wednesday.
The 9th. When's the 9th of December?
Is it the 9th or the 8th?
Oh, the 8th. Let me just check the...
I'm pretty sure it was the 8th. Yeah, 8th. Wednesday.
You're right.
Yeah. So
Wednesday the 8th.
We have Sean coming on here. I don't even know his last name, guys. But he works with athletes. He works with some amazing human people. He does what? Physiotherapy with them?
Sports therapy.
Yeah, so sports therapy. So he's going to be giving us next Wednesday... he's going to be talking to us about masculinity to the men. Women, you could still chime in, but he's going to be talking to the men about masculinity, what it is, what it isn't. He's going to be talking about selective masculinity. And the cool thing is he's an older guy. He's older than me. So he's taken the journey of understanding a lot more things than I have. And like, when I had a conversation with him, he's like, you're at your peak of your masculinity right now. So, being able to have a conversation with an older gentleman like that is going to be very, very fun.
Yeah. I look forward to it too.
Yeah. And then that following Friday, we actually have we're going to be talking about a topic that I actually wanted to discuss with Anthea about shaming language and shaming tactics, because a lot of times people are shamed for their for what they want and what they don't want. Let's say, for example, someone doesn't want some girl that has 10 different best friends. And he says, well, I'm not about that. I can't date a girl that's about that. And then she'll say, well, you're controlling. That's shaming language. Everybody wants what they want. Everybody, and we're even going to cover it in friendships too, because sometimes there's shaming language used in friendships. So let's say you're the type of friend that needs reciprocation, right? You need a friend that let's say when you call, I take all your calls. No matter what I'm doing, I know that you're a priority to me. I will take all your calls. And you can't reciprocate that, then I don't need to deal with you, right? But a lot of people will be shamed for thinking or feeling that way. Oh, you're too needy. Oh, you're too this. Oh, you're too... No, they're just telling you that's what they need.
And if that's what they need and they're not giving it, then there's nothing to shame you about.
Yeah, don't use shaming tactics or shaming things to make somebody feel guilty for the choices that they want this week, that they want. It's just don't do that.
I agree.
So we're going to be talking about that next Friday.
Okay. Oh, exciting.
And after our interview with Sean on Wednesday. So next Friday on the 10th, we're going to have that discussion. And then our other big announcement, guys, we're actually celebrating 6 months next month.
Woo!
So we're gonna actually try to put on kind of like a parade. I'm trying to figure out some things. Maybe we'll have some bazookas or something, you know, at the birthday party. We'll try to figure, yeah, and maybe like maybe we'll pop a little. Well, I don't know because it's 7:30 in the morning for me. So drinking champagne at 7:30 in the morning, like okay. Well, maybe we'll do a little something.
Mine's a lunchtime. Yeah, we'll do something.
Yeah, for her it's lunchtime, but maybe we'll do a little something, guys, because we've been doing this for 6 months. We had like one off month just to kind of put the system together, but things are coming along really well, and we're going to continue to add massive amounts of value to you guys. And this is going to be our 6-month marker. And as I said, guys, we're trying to get to 100K, and we can't do it without you. So, you know, that's why we ask you to just smash the like button, help us out, help us grow the channel. And we'll literally just take it from there. And we're going to keep giving you the content that you deserve. Especially with our paid content. Our paid content is going to be like really fine-tuned. You're going to get audio, you're going to get video, you're going to get step-by-step like processes of how to go about things, you know, how to pick the right partner, how to vet people. We're going to give it to you all. We're even going to work on like a masculine and feminine course together probably. We'll probably Zoom call it. You'll hear both of us talking. We're even probably going to have bullet points and a PDF for you guys. So we're literally just going to throw it all to you. Now, that's going to be paid content, of course, because we put our blood, sweat, and tears into it. Not that we don't do it with this, but that's going to be a little different. And then another thing that we have coming for you guys is the YouTube clips. We know that you guys spend like 30, 40 minutes watching us in the morning, and we thank you for that. We really appreciate it. But what we're going to be doing is clipping them down to 3-minute videos that you can watch on TikTok, Instagram, and then on YouTube, there'll probably be 5-minute videos that you guys can watch, of clipped videos that you guys can watch from us, just to get a brief summary of the topic. So what our guys will do, which we love so much, we'll take like a 5-minute clip from what we do here, put it on YouTube, on TikTok, and Instagram. You can watch a 3-minute clip of a brief overview. So we have that coming as well too, plus the clothing line. So we're literally just going to give you guys the pick of the litter. We're going to throw you guys in the candy shop and say, hey, pick what you want.
Happy days. Really exciting. So please like and share our stuff. Like, we would love to hit 1,000 subscribers or followers. Yeah. I mean, that would be a phenomenal.
And we'll have another celebration at that time.
Yes, for sure. Big time celebration. Yeah, I don't drink champagne, but we'll have champagne anyway, right?
Yeah, we'll have champagne anyways, even though it's 7. Yeah, we'll have champagne anyways.
We'll do it anyway.
You know, as I said, these conversations are not to shame anybody. These conversations are to open the doors and to help you reflect on your decision making when it comes to dating, your conscious choices. And also understanding certain principles that to be in a relationship, you need to have certain characteristics and principles. You just need to. You need to understand the girl that you're dealing with. You need to understand the man that you're dealing with. Some women want to be led. They want a man to lead the relationship and they follow. Some women want 50-50. Some women want to lead. You have to figure out, you as a man, what type of woman do you want? And as a woman, you have to figure out what type of man do you want. Do you want a man to lead you? Do you want a 50-50 thing? Do you want whatever, right? And at the end of the day, you need to also look at the statistics. Because the statistics help you decide what works.
For sure.
50-50 relationships to me don't work.
Nope.
It should be 100-100. So again, that's why I'm a huge believer in gender roles, right? I'm not saying the woman stays in the kitchen and cooks all the time, but what I'm saying is you need to understand who you are as a man, who she is as a woman, and then what you guys bring to the table. And I always firmly believe that the man should be the provider. It doesn't mean the woman shouldn't have her own thing, but the people that I deal with on a regular basis, their wives don't work. They made a promise to their wives, hey, if you have my babies, I am providing to the highest regard. Don't worry about anything.
And if you've had babies already and you're at a different stage in your life, then it's, I suppose that's where you have to understand, what do you want? Because like for someone like myself, it's not, I'm not looking for a man who wants to give me a family. That's
no, but you would still want that level of provision.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
Let's say you guys wanted to get a house together or a mansion, you would want a guy to be like, look, I know you're not going to stay in the house because you're going to go bananas like Roadrunner, but if this is where I learned, if you want to work from home, the option's there.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? You want a guy like someone like yourself. You want somebody like that says, hey, if you want to work, like if you want to get a part-time job or something, cool. But like, you don't have to. You can work from home if you want.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You want the option to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I'm just trying to say. You just need to know what person you're dealing with and what you can deal with.
Absolutely. I agree.
So with all that being said, guys, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. We're covering wants versus needs.
Excellent.
That one's going to be very intense too. And then on Friday, we're covering love versus lust. So you guys can go check it out on Instagram. It's all posted over on the IG, guys. Just go follow us over there. And we will talk soon.
Lots of love to everybody. Have a good day.